I was trained as a painter, but there were no sculptural facilities at the art school. And I was quite happy as a painter from about 1956 until about 6 or 7 years later, in 62, 63, I began to feel that the painting that I was doing, not that it was necessarily bad painting, but it didn't have the presence that I wanted. I didn't know what the presence was, but it didn't have it. Um, uh, People that I liked did have the presence. One of the people was the aforementioned Italian primitives, who are benefited by two things. One, lots of gold leaf in the painting, so it wasn't all just paint. And two, they had wonderful frames. They had great frames around them, gilt, and they were carved and all that stuff. Well, I didn't really, some of the paintings started to change shape. This is always a bad sign if you're just going to be a painter. When you get out of the rectangle, the first thing you go to is a circle. Then you have a rectangle with a half moon on the top, and you various things like that. And that's always a sign that you're varying the format and you're itching to get out. So I went off in 1963. I went off as a painter and come back as a thing maker, because I was looking at a lot of stuff in the galleries. I'm a great voleur, and I was looking at a lot of stuff that I found were very interesting. So when I came back, I started to want to do three-dimensional painted objects, but I couldn't, nor can I today, carve, weld, cast. I can hardly drive a nail. So I was fairly limited in my technique. And one of the early ones was called a germinating head, and it was a little paper mache sort of head, then oil painted with plastic flowers on it. And it was kind of cute, but it was a kind of surrealist in a way. Then I decided maybe I could do some boxes. So I cut myself a little box, maybe 4 inches by 4 inches by 5 inches, and I went out sketching the landscape. Now, the problem was, it wasn't a problem for the first half hour. The problem was I was using oil paints, and I had to hold the box, and you can imagine the first side and the second side, and even the third side weren't a problem, but the fourth side and the fifth side and the sixth side, I got them all over my fingers. And so, but what I tried to do was make a kind of a landscape on each side, and one landscape led into another as you went around the corner of the box. And this was kind of fun. It satisfied me in a way, and I started making bigger boxes. And the tallest one was 12 or 14 feet high. It was only about half a foot wide, and maybe 6 inches by a foot wide, but it was 12 or 14 feet high. And then in one of the small boxes, I had cut a slit at the bottom, and this was before the doors that I've described, but there was a slit at the bottom, which I guess if you were an art historian, you'd say reference the interior.